Welcome back to the Dungeon Master's Block, the place where we come to talk about the Dungeon Master, the most important person in the game. With every conversation, we hope to inspire as many as possible to keep on dungeon mastering.
And I'm one of your hosts, DM Neal, aka Jote Maniac. And today we have another episode coming to you straight from Acadecon. It was a little late getting here because I have been wildly under the weather. About as far under the weather as I have been in many years. But it did not lay me low. It did not take out my family. But we will instead talk about a total party kill for your games. As was alluded to in a previous episode, this is a great conversation that we have with the one, the only, the ever amazing DM Jerad. About some of the ways that you can handle a TPK. Is it short term? Is it long term? Is it how you end the game? Is it how you kick it off? A bunch of different options that you can use as a way to have fun with a TPK. But it's been a little while since you had an episode, so that's enough of me running my mouth. So let's head to the meat.
I'm starving. We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days.
Why can't we have some meats?
The flank meat's back on the menu, boys!
And today, on The Meat, we have a special guest here, DM Jerad, and we are going to be talking live to you at Acadecon about total party kills and what to do in the aftermath.
So we have to start here. Have each of us experienced a total party kill?
Yes, with a caveat.
That's wild. What is the caveat?
The caveat was that they didn't actually all die. They were all defeated. They didn't all die.
Okay, now the important piece that we were following up on. How many in the room did you kill?
How many of the people actively in this room have you killed?
Well, the people, none of them, thankfully.
Okay, touche.
Yeah.
Player versus player character. I accept the difference.
None of it was 4 out of the 5 characters died.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 1 of them was captured.
Okay. So that is probably my number one solution for a TPK is to have an out, have one player have the ability to continue on. If I didn't have another solution as to what I was going to do after, letting someone escape and continue and start back, that's the easiest workaround for the TPK is to not actually have.
Yeah, you kind of lose the thread of everything that's going on if the players are just a totally new party. You can't really and these other people who you've never heard of are picking up the fight. You have to have at least one person who still cares.
Which character survived for you?
It was this is going back a while. It was the warlock that survived. Okay. And he was maybe, as far as a player, was the least invested. Of course. So of course he's the one who lived.
I would love for that player to be like, all right, everyone, go ahead and roll new characters. I'm looking for a new party.
I mean, so the rest of them, they were in what was basically the equivalent of a homebrew world hell at the time. So there had to be a few steps to actually get him back to having a new party. So we basically had to kind of skip over a lot of we kind of flash forward, right? Like now you're with this new group of people because there was not a lot of ways to explain finding a group of 4 more people that were.
Oh, so you really did go with new characters?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was making a joke, but the warlock moved forward, and then it were 4 additional characters to the warlock.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But the flash forward makes sense. Like, they're going to go recruit people and try to finish the job.
Mm-hmm. But a warlock is much easier than some of the other characters because you can leverage the patron.
Sure.
As an easier way as an out. I think of cleric as a deity, paladin as a deity, rogue because they're awful. But I can think of like a lot of outs for most characters. I can think of the time that I was actually involved with one. I was literally just talking about it earlier, where I'm playing in a group that has never played before, but in a module I've played in. So like I don't take an active role very much because I don't think it's fair, because like I've run the module, I've played in the module, I know everything that's going to happen. So then I'm more of there to see, it's this little fun experiment of like, how far can they get us into something and can I get us back out of it? It's Lost Mines of Phandelver. They go to Thunder Tree. The cleric in their party immediately attacks the green dragon. And the DM's newer too, so he wipes us instantly. He's like, "Oh, I used the breath weapon." And I was like, "Yeah, we're dead then, man." Like that's how that's gonna work. But then the rogue survived, convinces the dragon that like, "No, we're okay." It brings us back, but now we're his solution, which I think is also a good one because you can do imprisonment, you can do indebted, and that's what he went with. So we were then indebted to the dragon. And I was all in because I was that character. I was like, that sounds great. I guess we're working for the dragon now. Immediately went and grabbed Dragon Cultist, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's this dragon right over here. And I think you guys should hang out. I think you would love it. And so then I paired them up, and then we went and cleared out the castle, and I like brought my trophy back. I was like, hey, dragon, look what I did. And they were like, I think we're evil now. I'm like, well, I didn't punch the dragon. So, but that's another good solution, I guess. Have you been in or committed a TPK?
No, I have not ever been in or committed a TPK.
Okay.
Not even a near one like Jared's example.
Okay.
My group is very much like, we'll follow whatever plot points you give us. I don't try to metagame too hard where I tell them where you are heading, you are going to die. But usually they're smart enough to not try to punch too high above their weight. I don't know. They're all very analytical folks who are very bought in. They don't, I don't know. I guess they take it seriously, in air quotes, you could say. So they're trying not to do that. I also just try to avoid that because I feel like it'd be an easy way to derail the story. But obviously, it can still happen to anybody at any time. And I'm not saying that anybody who has had it happen is not a good DM or GM.
Yeah, I mean, I think it ends up being, especially with 5e, one of the early level issues is death.
Sure. The balance is very wild at that level. Goblins can, wipe out a party before you ever get off the first road you're on.
And one of the worst offenders is anything that they've taken from a previous edition and brought it into 5th. So like if it's a 1-to-1 from a monster from 3rd to 5th, it doesn't calculate correctly. So everything that was in one of the anthologies that brought forward the Forge of Fury, and any dragon they brought forward is way, way harder in 5th edition, and then just wipes every party that shows up. The other thing that I've done a couple times is a planned TPK, which is difficult because it feels like I'm railroading them.
Right.
But story-wise, I wanted the afterlife to be broken, but I don't have an easy way to illustrate that.
Oh, was this where the souls were like stuck there? Yes, I remember you describing this.
Yeah.
That does actually. I realize now I have had a full-on real TPK that was planned. That I almost didn't count that because it was the intro. It was literally session 1, whole party dies to get them all into the abyss where their souls have to escape as a whole escaping from hell plot line. And
I've always held that in, even with my current party, were they to have it happen, knowing or unknowing on my part, I have that in my back pocket as the idea that I would do.
Yeah.
Like if they all die, that's going to be the next session. Is that they're going to figure out that the afterlife is broken and that they basically need to do something to fix it, rather than roll a whole new set of characters. Because like you said, for the most part, I feel like nowadays with the way a lot of YouTube channels or TikTok, there's often this presentation of like level 20 or level 15 design or these big builds that everyone looks towards.
Oh, yeah.
And so like
they're like planning levels and levels ahead.
Yeah, so every player has this goal that I would, and that's one of the reasons I like when I run at the cruise, I always do a triple level up because I want those people to experience something that often they don't get to. I do level 3, level 6, level 9, because then they get to experience a lot more of that actual character progression when typically they don't get to. And so when if you kill a character, short of what is it, the brother-son method of like, my brother's here. My son has arrived. But yeah, if they're already doing the whole brother-son thing, like I feel like even with that much, they're going to lose a connection to their own character because it's technically not the same character.
I've never even allowed I'm like, if you make a new character.
Yeah. I mean, it's a common.
The bare minimum, a different class. Like if you want them to be a brother or the son, I get that, but make it a new character. Sure. You know, like I carry the torch of your previous character. That's cool. I like that story.
Unless
to it.
Canonically, you had a twin that was like
right, like oh man, here Joseph the fighter died. Here's Boseph the fighter. Like
right.
Oh well, my brother told me all these stories about you guys, so I feel like I already know. So we don't have to do any awkward catching up phase.
But I feel like it's less common now, but it was much more common in previous days, which a much more antagonistic back and forth. Like so,
and a lot less character backstory and like work into the story of your character, right? It was easy to just bring a bunch of characters to Tomb of Horrors, right?
A meat grinder's different, right? Yeah, that's not
that's the expectation.
Yeah,
and that's the point I wanted to bring up is like oftentimes, especially in today's games, it's all about setting the expectation. Like some people don't want to play in a game where it's like peril at every corner, and some people do. It's really up to your group and the kind of game they want to play. I feel like TPKs can definitely be part of it if they're interested in it being deadly. Like, yeah, this could be deadly, but some people might not want to play that. So, yeah.
Have either of you ever watched Darkness Rising?
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, well, okay, well, that's dead. No, I'm just kidding. So there's one character who's just failing miserably constantly to the point where at like the final session, like it's up against the big bad, he walks in and slams down a literal stack of his character sheets. And he constantly gets killed to the point where he shouts, or one of the other characters shouts at some point, "Hide behind the pile of dead bards." and then they literally made like a pewter mini of dead bards. But like you said, at that point you're just playing a meat grinder, and it's
right.
I guess everything we've talked about has to allude to the idea that if you have a TPK or do a TPK, or you have to make it mean something, or else it's a weird, because then you have the antagonistic part of your players. I don't know how much they trust that back and forth then. Like if they just straight up die and weren't expecting it, because you even have the same thing of if you're not giving enough clues for them to know that they had the chance of it happening, there's bound to be at least one person at your table that is really angry about that.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's I've come pretty close in a few times to TPKing my party. Like they want that danger. Especially my current group wants to know that the danger is there, that it's not, that I'm not pulling punches, just for the sake of pulling punches, that there is, life and death stakes, right? So the coming close to it, I've always kind of sat on, if it's one of those, like if it's a random encounter or like something that may as well be a random encounter, like, oh, I need to show that this area is dangerous, so there's this big dangerous monster nearby, but it's not
advancing the story.
Yeah, it's not advancing the story. Something might get in the way of it being a literal kill like a TPK being referred to, like everyone could be knocked out, all their gear stolen, right? And that still is within what people call a TPK in air quotes. But I don't think I would ever land on the whole party died from this weird mist cat that you guys ran into. Like
that sounds terrible.
Yeah, random NPC killed you guys. That's wild.
Yeah. So like, maybe that's when you pull out once there was no more danger, you guys got a few bandits, came through all your stuff, stole, looted you and left you for dead, but you're all, one of you comes back at some point.
Yeah, there's always a way to do it. Yeah, like I said, my groups usually follow pretty closely to what I'm putting down. But that doesn't mean I haven't gotten close. But yeah, it's just something that hasn't popped up yet. I suppose I have had a similar scenario where they all die on this plane and move to another plane, but it was a one shot. So and it was for my friend in his game. He just had me come guest DM in their world as like a flashback to like a previous time. It was fun, but
there was a whole half second there where I was like, "That's wild." You went to someone else's game and killed all their characters.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of knew it was going to happen.
No, I know.
There's like an apocalypse 1,000 years ago. This is a flashback to people who lived at that time.
Oh my god! I just remembered. I've done another TPK. Yeah. Oh my god!
I've just run so many games. They all.
Dude, I've been running
like
a long time.
Yeah. A little refresher. As the people who are being invaded.
As the other side.
In the trenches. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like the end of Halo Reach or whatever. Yeah, it's just like, all right, sorry, spoilers for a 15-year-old game or whatever it is.
15 might be low, I think. No, 2010, that might be right. I think you might have got it.
Somewhere around there.
I think the other thing, and the title of it was like, a TPK is okay. If you've planned it out, if it happens on accident, like it doesn't, the other thing is it can be just an accident.
Sure.
You can say no. Like you are in control. I mean, not knowing certain aspects of either a module or a monster or the power level of your own players, like it happens. Like it's
a lot of bad rolls.
Yeah. The two of the people in this room almost TPK'd on a single wood golem. And it was bad.
They shall remain nameless.
So that was the reference to the random NPC. Makes me think of all my time in World of Warcraft. Beat every boss, wipe on trash.
Yeah. Well, and then so like that's where I would pull like, well, maybe some kind of backup arrives, some consequences, right? But
oftentimes they'll have NPCs that they're talking with or working with, and they may decide they want to play one of those too. Like I've had that happen where someone, like we had an NPC that they were working with, one of the characters died, and they said, "Hey, can I just play that person?" Sure, let's do it. Let's build him. Let's stat him out. Let's make it fun.
That is another tactic I have not used, but I have seen others use.
Yeah.
That works really well. The idea that like your player characters they're known to the world. Like at the point at which they die, no matter what level they are, they've interacted with some set of NPCs that probably care enough to figure out why they're not showing back up.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what was popping around in my mind a second ago of like, post TPK, like what is the legacy of these characters? Especially if you've gotten to high levels, right? Like if this is a TPK that happened on some narratively interesting encounter, obviously there's fallout of these people dying. Like, what does that mean for the world? What does that mean for all these other people? It doesn't even have to be for existing named NPCs, but like clearly you're a bunch of people who have affected the world significantly, maybe even affected just your town or your region significantly. And that means that even on a small scale, there's people who now know about that legacy that can pick up the torch. And now you have there's a built-in arc there that's just made for these characters to like follow up. And then people aren't feeling like, oh, these characters are dead and we all died and it didn't matter. Now, like you have something meaningful that comes out of this death that you're already like pre-built. Here's a gift of roleplay opportunity for everyone.
Yeah. Like you killed the monster that was plaguing this town. Therefore we do like a vignette of the town and like how they realize that they're safe now. So, even though your characters are gone, this is the change that you wrought. This is the results of your actions. So, there was some good that came of it. I've had a few players who asked to like have their character, sacrifice themselves at the end, like I want to go out. You know, like that's what this person would want. They want redemption. They want whatever it is, and that's kind of what they're looking for. So, you know, if the whole group, that's kind of what they want, then you can totally do that.
I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like we said one thing, and all three of us came up with different ideas. Because I didn't think of what you said, and I also didn't think of what you said. Because I feel like you're talking about like those NPCs moving forward and being the main PCs of the campaign,
or even just new characters that come out of what that story told. You know, like, you know, it doesn't have to be the guy that was already named that we talked to, but
people that were inspired.
People like the people, like you went to this village, you didn't name I didn't name every character that was in this
even
village
though you
of
asked
100
me
people.
to talk to everybody.
Even though you asked to talk to everyone, no matter who they were, and asked me what all their first and last names were.
And what their jobs were and where they lived.
But there's other people who live in that town that you saved, like that your legacy matters.
So in that scenario, the other thing that's important is whatever the problem was didn't get solved.
True.
The other thing the one I was thinking of is a shorter campaign arc with a set of NPCs that are more closely tied to your PCs that care enough to go save them, or bring them back, or get enough to resurrect them.
Yeah, they have like people that are part of their guild or their, you know, whatever group that they were a part of.
Yeah, and it could just in some ways that could be one of the most interesting storylines you tell, because it gives everyone a chance to play different characters, to play different classes, to do different things, and it may conclude that they go and save their original PCs, and they determine, I don't want to play that character anymore, and that character, you know, you can also write the story to say that character does not want to adventure anymore.
Yeah, could
post death. Like I fully understand that, and they just continue to play the NPC. The other one I think of is like in your scenario is like completely different from from both of those. So like there's just a lot of options, I think, once you have the TPK that you can still continue forward.
Right, you don't have to finish it. Yeah. What else is there to say? Death. The final frontier.
So there are other people we could just ask.
Sure. Wow.
Crazy. Wow.
What?
With
a live studio audience. Live from Dayton, Ohio.
If you have questions, we take all questions.
So the question was about death, you know, compared to death being the end of an adventure to being the beginning of another one. And I mean, yeah, that's right. Especially when you have a campaign where your players are trying to stop something from happening, when they all die, that thing happens. You know, the wizard got the orb of whatever and changed the world with it, and now you're playing in a changed world, right?
Yeah, there's like a few examples of people who've done actual plays like this, I feel like, where it's like, okay, the evil won already, and now we're going in to mop up what happened. For those Brandon Sanderson fans out there, Mistborn, it's a trilogy of fantasy books. The idea is that like the main villain kind of already took over the world is dying, and then, you know, 1,000 years later, we pick up with the story of the protagonist. So you could totally do that. Like, all right, there was a TPK. Now we're doing a time jump to some indiscriminate, like, you know, some amount of time ahead. The villain has won, and this is the reality of the world you live in. Now you got to solve the problem again, you know?
Right. You pull that move once, and your world, and it's never the same again as far as players knowing the consequences, right? Like
True.
of a TPK, and now you're like, well, now everything is different. Right. Because of this failure, right? Like,
now I have to redraw my maps, all the continental drift, you know, who knows what happened. Anyway, yeah. But it could be fun. Like, at least you wouldn't have to throw all your prep out the window.
It's a risk of, it's all on the internet. It's always a risk every time I open my mouth. So, let it be.
What are you going to say?
I know. No, it's fine. So, so the definition of what an isekai is.
Okay, sure.
A very contested thing. And I don't know why. I'm just like, whatever.
This when we were talking about the Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court being an isekai.
it was, yeah. But the idea that, like, I think most of us think about going from where we are now in our world to some kind of fantastic world.
Sure.
Well, there's nothing to stop you from taking your D&D world and them dying, and you can transport them to wherever you want.
Our world.
No, don't do that.
Get isekai'd into
I had it
Dayton,
happen.
Ohio.
I had it happen. It bummed me out. So
That's a
much.
horror campaign.
It bummed.
Dictator posters all over. What is going on in this
Not
place?
specifically to Dayton, but I did have that happen because at the time my DM was reading like a book, and he was just hell bent on like that book being what the story was.
Didn't
told.
you tell me you like poke out of the sewer and it's just like
Yes,
like New York City or
we're
whatever?
literally in a.
That's the
like,
plot of Enchanted.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is isekai. Oh,
We did get enchanted. That makes it worse. That didn't make it better. But we were literally driving in a carriage. A dragon is following behind us. There's like this weird like Willy Wonka style scene on the boat, and then all of a sudden, we're like popped up in an alley.
oh,
And then like
the Willy
I'm
Wonka
the only
boat.
one that has like a weapon still because I have an axe that was magical. But like that's weirder because now I'm just a random dwarf in an alley with an axe in modern day, and then one person has a gun, but they don't know what they're doing. So no, I don't know that I would
Incredible.
suggest-
Makes me want to enchant my players and make one of them be a druid so they can sing to the rats.
But
And the pigeons.
But one of the people here at Acadecon that we've also had on the podcast previously is J. Tyler Pennington. In his book, the main character is in our world, dies, and shows up in a game world. And what I realize is...
Like a game that they knew about?
No.
Okay.
And so they're learning as they go. But one of the other things...
How did he die? Was a buscoon?
No, he was special forces on a mission and dies and then just wakes up in a fantasy world.
That's the book you...
but the concept, I realize, works, especially if you'd like to change system.
Sure.
Because then you can have like an easy through point to say you died and now you're transported here, and you could easily,
All the rules are different now because
Houses
you're
and
involved.
humans now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your players are fed up with the rules after a TPK, then they're ready for something different.
Houses, humans, and households. We gotta make enough money to pay our mortgage.
Yeah, roll for taxes.
Yeah. But no, I mean, the same thing technically happens in the D&D novels. As they were writing them and having edition changes, they were literally having to write in reasons why things were different from the mechanical perspective of the rules changes. It's why the spell plague happened. It's why they jumped ahead 100 years. It's why those are the reasons certain things happened in the books. It was literally just to mimic the rules changes. So like there's a lot of reasons to like use the TPK as like the catalyst to start something brand new, especially if you're, like I said, if you're jumping to something completely different. Delta Green, that's what you do.
Hunting vampires.
Go from D&D to Delta Green.
Yeah,
Well,
Twilight.
I don't need that much of an excuse to play Delta Green.
I know. See, solved it.
Thanks for your question. We talked a very long time about that. It was good. Any other questions of TPKs?
Oh, who's your favorite Darkness Rising character?
Rising.
Darkness Rising. Sorry, I'm a fraud.
I've definitely heard of this, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, same.
So, gamers is what you're going to look up. Zombie Orpheus, Dead Gentleman.
I'm sure I've seen clips from this.
Yeah, Hands of Fate will be the follow-up one. That was like the Magic the Gathering style one. I don't know, that one didn't hit the same for me. The original Gamers, I think, is probably, as low budget as it is probably my favorite because it feels the most real, because it's literally them just filming themselves in college playing D&D, and then their characters show up and kill them. Okay, but it's the Bard, because he's one of those people that's like, he's going to show up to every session, but he seems mad about it every single time. Like, just, it's like this spiteful arrival of just like, I'm here and I'm going to make it better, and then just dies every single time. And I think it's because I have a player like that. So the Pile of Dead Bards. And so that is my favorite character is in Darkness Rising. Is the Pile of Dead Bards.
Okay.
I mean, now granted, the rogue manages to steal someone's pants at the bar and then sneak attack them with a ballista. Must watch.
Sure.
Must watch. Favorite line in the entire movie is waffles, ho, because they did a good job, so they get to go get waffles.
Waffles home. I see.
And drive off on them, two people on a moped.
I can appreciate the stealing someone's pants from the deal. That literally the first session of any RPG I ever ran. There was an extended amount of time going into stealing a single man's pants. Not via any of my choice in that, obviously, but
Incredible.
Someone just had too styling of pants, and that was also the very first time my players murder hoboed an NPC.
You described the pants way too well. They just had to have them.
Okay. So we had also talked about this a little bit previously. I have had players request outs for certain characters. And depending on what type of story I've wanted to tell and where I'm at in that story, I have chosen to kill them.
Oh, yeah.
Because it made for a better story, because one character was tied so closely to their character was tied so closely to another that it was more impactful for them to be killed rather than just stop adventuring. And I had already planned like a bandit attack on the group while they were asleep in the inn, because then it's a harder fight for them. They're not prepared, blah, blah, blah. So to start the fight, they wake up and one of them has been killed already. And then he creates it. Later they find his new character and go on. I guess that goes back to the idea of like, what if the players are all asking to be done?
Oof. Oh, you got to do some introspection if that happens.
No.
I'm like, just
everyone comes to you. They're like, "Listen, Neal, we need to sit down.
No.
we can't keep doing this."
This is an intervention. No, but
I'm like, thanks. I didn't need to feel more anxious about if people were enjoying themselves.
You hope that you've communicated enough and well enough that wouldn't happen, but it could happen. It could definitely happen. I guarantee you, we searched Reddit and it has happened.
It doesn't necessarily mean in a bad way, right? Like that's not as in
That's
like
true.
You get to a point where these adventurers they all have a goal, and then they say, okay, we're all willing to die for this goal, and we're going into an impossible fight. And so they say like, hey, and they say like, we're willing to all go out fight. I mean, I would say the majority of my player deaths have been player consent deaths.
Right.
I've never had all of them simultaneously, but like, that's not necessarily, we were joking, but like, it doesn't necessarily mean.
I mean, well, so in this example, it definitely could happen. And I guess you just you got to figure out what they are interested in. If it's this game, this world, but different things, or if they want to do something completely different, because both are very valid and both could be fun.
So I was running a super dungeon in Pathfinder 1E, the Emerald Spire. It's 16 levels, and none of them are small. And there's just a point at which that's just not necessarily what I wanted to run anymore, and it's not necessarily what they wanted to play anymore.
Pretty dungeon crawly.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
And so you do get to create a base on like one of the kind of like early set of levels, so you kind of have a base of operations. But you're never really going back to town. You're not really doing anything because everything is encapsulated, because every level has the spire literally going through it. So everything is meant to just keep going down further and further and further, clearing one room, and they're all thematically different, sure. But like you're just stuck in the same dungeon the entire time. We were stuck in the same dungeon for years. So it just got to a point where it's like it's just not the game that any of us necessarily, myself included, were interested in playing anymore.
That would get monotonous if you're not really bought in on the dungeon crawl.
Yeah, so I broached that conversation to say, and so I just kind of walked through. I had like one big epilogue session to finish that out, to talk through what the rest of that dungeon would have been like for them and with their characters, just because they still wanted to know what the conclusion of that story would have been for them and those characters, and then still talk through like what do their characters do after that. But then we moved to something completely different. There's an interesting way to have them, go out in a blaze of glory and just blow the whole thing up. I mean, I think
Death by epilogue.
Yeah, epiclogue is what I like to call it.
There you go.
But the idea that you would just know that the campaign is ending and determine, but I guess that all goes back to the idea of not surprising them with every character dying.
Right. Gotcha.
So
people love that.
Okay, so we're close enough, and as with every episode, I have no idea what we're supposed to tell people what homework is to go watch or read or
watch.
Play Halo Reach.
Yeah, Halo Reach.
Halo Reach is a prolific TPK.
And then think about what you would do after that. I don't know. There's an old 70s movie called Heaven Can Wait about a guy who's the quarterback of the LA Rams and then dies and then like finds a way to convince heaven to send him back down in an old rich guy's body. And then he tries out for the Rams again as the old rich guy, and he buys the team in order for them to give him a tryout. A funny take on what you would do after you die. Like, what weird ways would someone manipulate it in order to achieve their goals?
Man, I had no idea where you were going with that one. And
It's like my grandpa's like top 10 favorite movies. I've never met anyone who supports your local sheriff. Bridge over the River Kwai. Like, what else are we gonna pick? Anyway,
wow. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't prepared for one of the answers to be just quantum leap them all. It's fine. Just when they die, just shove them all in different bodies. It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Scott Bakula. That's so funny. I would 100% do it.
Yeah.
Just, you died. It looks like you woke up in a Dragonborn today. What?
Maybe that's the cosmology of the world, right?
Yeah.
Like you're reincarnated somewhere else, or maybe here still.
Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah.
That's a good TPK.
Just watch all of Andor and then watch Rogue One.
Yeah. I feel like a million. I mean, specifically because of what we're talking about. Like, a lot of horror films are a pretty good example of a TPK with more than likely an out, because the vast majority of them want to make more movies. But the idea that like every horror film, again, like either the monster comes back or one person survives and like continues, and typically both things happen. But the idea is like they want the film to be successful and then make another one. Like Scream 7's about to come out 30 years after the first Scream. So, and
if you really want examples of masterful storytelling to base your own games off of,
the chokehold that the Scream mask had on my elementary school Halloween dress up is insane.
We have not ever once said that homework was the pinnacle of media. We are just saying that when we tell you to consume something, it is just a good example of the topic that we were discussing.
I was going to say End of Evangelion. That's a good one.
No, sure. Everyone becomes drawn on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if your players say that they don't like the ending that you wrote, write a worse one and tell it to them then.
Yeah.
Just like Evangelion.
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
We didn't really like the part where you just transitioned to 2D, like drawn on paper animation for our story.
You
just told us we all figured out our own problems.
You just handed us a Post-it note that was like 2 lines and said that was the rest of the campaign.
All right, everything boils down to this one D20 roll. All right.
You wake up on a beach. Okay. Anyway.
Most of these ideas, because of the TPK, like you're going to have to keep it confined to something short. Like, I think movies.
The Spirit. That's a really good movie about someone who dies and then solves problems from beyond the grave.
Anyone else have any good? Blair Witch Project is a pretty big TPK. Anyone else have any good ones? Any good?
I'd say just doing the second half as a post-apocalypse versus the first half as a pre-apocalypse. That's pretty good.
That is fun. I feel like post-apocalypse could be fun, especially if you planned for like all the crazy stuff that would happen.
Right next, yeah.
Fallout.
Very specifically, Fury Road.
Yeah. the best of the 4 movies.
I think that's it. I think that's all we got.
All right.
I don't remember how we ended. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Jared, thanks for being in the same physical location.
Yeah, being in near physical proximity to you two has been an acceptable experience.
I hope we do it again, only once a year.
Small doses.
No, it's great hanging out with you guys.
We just want to thank Jared for spending some time with us. We want to thank Michael for just doing all he does to make Acadecon a reality and bringing us on as guests, and for you for listening. And of course, if you want to email us and tell us about the TPKs that you have implemented in your games, whether or not you wanted to, please email us at dungeonmasterblock@gmail.com. We would absolutely love to hear about your TPKs, and I guarantee you I will respond to any email we get. Okay, that's not true. I will respond to any email we get from a listener. We get a lot of spam. And not the good kind. You know, fry it up, get a little soy sauce in there. That kind's great. The other kind, less than ideal. But if you enjoyed this episode or any other, you can always head over to Apple Podcasts, your podcatcher of choice. Leave a rating and review. I will know in my heart that it happened, and I will smile while walking down the street. And of course, if you head over to social media, you can always find us at DMS_block. That's at DMs block. And of course, we are always a proud member of the Block Party Podcast Network, where you can find other amazing shows like Detentions and Dragons, Dungeons and Dragons and Daughters, and more. But as always, thank you for listening to the Dungeon Master's Block, the place where we come to talk about the Dungeon Master, the most important person in the game, the only person capable of playing God, killing characters, and lowering the ego scores of everyone else at the table. I'm DM Neal. Good night, good luck, and keep on dungeon mastering.
It's not inspiration, it's not wisdom, and it's bad advice.
I don't know. Just do it when you're fed up with them. You're just tired. You said, I'm done with these jokers. Boom. Tarask. Sorry. That's the way the dice rolled. Showed up. Stomped you out. Done and done.
Goodbye.